watching tulipswift. Welcome back. Today I'm doing the best books that I read in 2022. I feel like I significantly increased the amount of books I read this year. I read like 10 more than last year, so that's exciting. I also feel weird. I haven't done a video in forever. I'm just like, hello. I literally cannot rank them this year. I feel like 5 out of the 7 like kind of are like a first place book. I don't know. Anyway, so this year I'm actually not going to rank them. I know, like, I hate that, but I'm going to just sort them into categories. We got graphic novel, young adult, romance, and fantasy. Starting off with romance books, I'm going to share with you The Risk by Elle Kennedy. This is actually in a series, and it takes place in college. Every single book is a different character falling in love with someone on the hockey team. You don't have to read the books in order. This, like, spin-off series is, like, better in my opinion. The Risk is about this girl named Brenna. She is fabulous. I love her so much. She wants to be like a sportscaster. Like, she's really into hockey. Her dad's actually the coach of the hockey team. The name of the series is like Briar University. So that's like the school. It's like made up or whatever. They're like an Ivy League school. They have a great hockey team. So she's dating like the star of their rival team, which is Harvard. I love the cast of characters because they're all like friends. Like, I want it to be a freaking like Netflix show or something. Like, I'm literally about to write and direct it. Like, that's how serious I am right now. These books are funny. Okay, so the second book in my romance category would be The Dare by Elle Kennedy. So this one I would say is very different than the other books. Like, I don't know, it just like feels different. But like, I love it. It was kind of serious. Like, I cried at least twice. So Taylor is in a sorority. Taylor like is really insecure, okay? Like, Taylor's probably the opposite of Brenna. But you know who does think she's pretty? Connor Edwards. Like, the star of the hockey team. So yeah. What I love about this one is Connor is like a background character in some of the later books. And like, he's kind of like one of the new hockey players on the team. Like, he's young, but he's great. Okay, let me read you this line. Resisting his easy charm and surfer boy hotness is damn near impossible. Like, it's like, what happens in this book is she's kind of like pushed around by her sorority for being kind of a loser. And so Connor, who heart of gold, Connor does Taylor a solid, and he's like, no, like, I'm dating her, like, obviously, like, we're dating. I don't necessarily go for the fake dating trope because it's so random, but like, obviously, like, sometimes it just like works. Okay, leaving the Elle Kennedy sphere, we're gonna go into Allie Hazelwood. She wrote The Love Hypothesis. I liked this one better. Granted, I read it first. Granted, the main character has purple hair. Anyways, my last favorite romance book is Love on the Brain. So Allie Hazelwood is actually a scientist. She has a PhD, and she writes romance books about scientists. The like subplots and stuff are like very authentic, very interesting, very grounded in reality. Her name is B. This is her. She has purple hair. It's just like really important to me that you know that she has purple hair and like a septum ring. Like, it's very important. So B is working for NASA for this like project. She moves to Texas. The cover of the book is because she actually has these like fainting spells, which is like really funny because then like Levi, he's like catching her and he's like, are you okay? And she's like, sorry, I just have like fainting spells. And I'm just like, I'm about to start fainting spells whenever I see a hot guy. Her and Levi were like arch enemies in grad school, and so now they have to work together. They knew each other back in grad school, but she was engaged to this guy, Tim. Blech. One thing I love about this book, she do be facing like a lot of sexism in the workplace, like as a woman in STEM. Like, he like deadass like stands up for her, like, get out of the way, like Levi's coming through. Also, like, they're both vegan, which is like so cheesy, but like deadass, like, it's funny. Like, it's a funny book. It's lovely. It is so good. Like, the pining. I could not stop reading this book. I think what I like so much about this one is I love B. Like, she's so cute. She's so funny. She's just like really quirky, and I really related to her. All right, now we'll do like a little mini section for the one graphic novel that made the list. The book is Newbie A Real One by Elle McKinney and Robin Smith. So I picked this up because my father bought it, because my father has bought every single comic book and graphic novel that's come out in the last like 50 years. So he had this, and I saw that it was a YA, and so I was like, okay, Dad, I'm gonna read this. It is also a Wonder Woman retelling with a Black teenage girl, so a Wonder Woman I personally had never seen before. Let me just say, it is beautiful. If you love pink and purple, like, it is so serious, like, you have to read it. Like, it do be pink and purple. I kind of like sometimes don't love graphic novels and comics because I don't get as much as a book, and I just don't feel as close to the characters, but I feel like superhero ones are really nice because it's so visual. This one I got so much character. I love her family, I love her friends. I felt like really moved by this. It's not just like any other YA retelling. Obviously this story means so much for the people who made it, and like you can just feel that. Like it was so wonderful. It was so vulnerable, and I just love it. Anyway, so I should probably tell you what it's about. So Nubia is a teenage girl, and she's always had like a lot of strength as like a baby, like as a small child, like super power type strength. So you kind of find out through the story like her origin as like Nubia is finding it out herself. Her and her friends are like so cute and funny, and they all have their own personalities. Like I felt like this one just like came right off the page. The world has no problem telling her that she's no Wonder Woman. So that's kind of the thing, is like even if she wanted to use her powers, like she's not really accepted. Like people think she's dangerous. They don't see her as like a savior as they would like a white Wonder Woman. So she has to kind of decide how she's going to use her powers and how she fits into her community. When her friends are in danger, like what is she going to do? Is she going to like stand up for her friends? You know what I mean? So it was just really amazing, and it was so pretty, and honestly it's like my new favorite graphic novel. What's gonna be next? I guess next we'll do fantasy. There's only one fantasy book. So the fantasy book's actually going to be Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I read this all the way in January, so like do not ask me what it was about. I do remember crying really hard. Aww. I think crying harder than I've cried in like any book like I've ever read. So Crooked Kingdom is the sequel to Six of Crows, and this is in the same universe as the Grisha trilogy, which starts with Shadow and Bone. So Shadow and Bone has a Netflix series. Like I feel like if a booktuber is watching this, you're like, shut up. Like we learned about this 10 years ago, but I'm talking to the people. The Netflix series Shadow and Bone, I totally recommend it. It's really good. They actually cross over Shadow and Bone with Six of Crows, so you kind of get 2 in 1. So Six of Crows is like this ragtag group of like thieves and con people that happen to also be teenagers. I would say Six of Crows is one of those books that kind of like cheats, and like the characters are like 17, so it is a young adult book. And it has some young adult themes, but it's really like of all ages, I would say. It's pretty dark, but it's also funny. So Kaz and Inej are kind of like the leads of this series, and I would just like to say, once again, their song is Cowboy Like Me by Taylor Swift. Telling all the rich folks anything they want to hear, like you could be in love. I could be the way for it only if you paid for it. You're a cowboy like me. Like that's literally the song. Anyways, Kaz is like really closed off and like emotionally unavailable, and Inej is like this like tortured, acrobatic, really talented sleuth spy, you know, that kind of like works with / for him. So yeah, they take on this huge job in Six of Crows. I don't remember like what is the plot of the second book. Oh, they're kind of like picking up the pieces after the first book. Things work out, things don't work out from the heist. I was just like really surprised like how like much it got me. Okay, let's move on to our last category, which is young adult. I love young adult. I think it's the best genre. It's not a genre, it's a category. Even if you are like a grown person, I'm also grown, okay, I'm 23. You should read these. Okay, it's called Alex Approximately, and it's by Jen Bennett. This was the first Jen Bennett book I've read, and I'm gonna read the next one, and I'm gonna find out like if this was a fluke, because I think she accidentally wrote like the best book that's ever been booked. This is important. There's a journey in here, and it's really, really good. And also, like, I really like this was such a self-insert book. It's a summer book. It's like on a little summer trip. She goes to stay with her dad's for the summer because she's like really into movies, and there's like a film festival over there, like me. She takes a summer job working at this like quirky museum. This do be a young adult romance. Porter is the security guard, and he's her arch nemesis. They kind of like, it's not really like hate to love. Like they just kind of tease each other. He's a surfer. Like I've never read a romance like love interest that was a surfer. I cried during it. Like this is how you write a damn good book. There's a lot of like film references. I just feel like the main girl, she's so complex. For a young adult book, this one like really took itself seriously. It did not like dumb it down. If I'm reading young adult now as someone in her 20s, I'm not gonna read something that feels like it's like censoring itself, catering itself to young adult. Like I want it, like it still has to be authentic. It has to be real. I picked it up because the ratings were so high on Goodreads that I was just like, what is the deal? Like I don't remember hearing about this book. I mean, I think it was big like when it came out, but I don't remember people talking about it. So last but certainly not least is Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. This, I have to say, I did cry. Okay, this one was like really deep. Quinn is completely finding herself in this book. If you're the kind of person who is like never really have that feeling of I'm able to do this yet, and so you really have to like kick yourself every time you like try something new, go somewhere new, talk to new people, that like self-doubt and stuff, that got me in this book. I was just like, wait, what? Like I finished the book and I felt like a different person. Like, does that ever happen to you? You know, when you walk out of the movie theater and you're like, yeah, I'm just like, I changed my personality. Like, that was me after reading this. There is a romance with Carter. It's just really wonderful, and I feel like she really stumbles through that and learns a lot about other people and relationships. Her grandmother has like this big like piece of land like on the water and in nature, and she's not a kid anymore, and she has all these like very like specific memories about like the smell and the way it feels. As someone who like is all like, I'm always like in my head, I'm always daydreaming. I feel like I have these very strong memories from being little because I think about it all the time. I feel like I really deeply related to this character. Young adult books can so much be about what's next, growing up, and you're gonna go to college and what are you gonna do. But I feel like, especially for me, and one thing I really got out of this book, there's just so much like reflection, and to have such positive memories of being little like really like sticks with you, because then like those memories do not get out of your head, and like it's sometimes hard to be in the moment because you're just thinking about playing in the dirt when you're a child. I don't know, these are things that like I thought only I had to deal with, but like I read this book and I was like, oh my god, me too, girl. Here's the pitch. Quinn has a journal that she like writes all of her deepest, darkest secrets in. She's kind of scared of a lot of things, you know, but like not in like a way that she's like a scaredy cat and insecure and stuff. Like she's like a functioning member of society, but she just like has like insecurities, okay? Like we exist. In her notebook it has like all of the things that she's afraid to do. This is an actual YA trope I do not like, but like it totally worked in this book. Someone on social media is like anonymously posting her journals and stuff, like, okay, love Simon. She writes a to do before I graduate list, some things that she's afraid to do, and also has told some lies to her parents and like some people around her. The anonymous like Instagram account is saying like they'll give you your journal back if you complete your list of things to do before I graduate, which is also like, okay, fine, I'll grow as a person in the course of this book. So if she doesn't do all the things on her list, it's gonna like keep posting more from her journal. It's this scavenger hunt, and then throughout it she's getting help from Carter. Reading this when I was like 22, and this girl is like 17, and she's like facing her fears and like growing up, and she's trying to like rip off the band-aid and just like live her life. And I was just like, wait, damn, like that's so real, that's so me. Look at the cameras. Okay, thank God, I think I'm done. Anyways, those are the 7 best books I read in 2022. Please let me know if you have read any of these, or if you are planning on reading some of them, like if they interested you. Please leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye!